And here we go. We have liftoff. Propulsion continues to be normal.
RCPA chamber pressure looks good.
Rolling up. Roger, roll, Atlantic.
Water towers fly! Yes!
Tango down to nominal.
Flight downside FD off. Bring in FD off. Off. It's orange!
145. Oh my god! Oh my god!
Decollage. What is it? Put that in the big bag, Eagle.
343 unfolds to go.
Indeed.
We rise together, back to the moon and beyond.
This methane will be igniting in the flare, correct?
Yikes. You good? We don't need any more of these.
Hello and welcome to Countdown to Launch. That's right, Starship Flight 4 is coming up soon, although there has been a minor delay of one day, which we'll talk about here momentarily. But yeah, let's just get started right off the bat and get everybody updated on the state of play for this next Starship launch, which hopefully will be happening on June 6th. I'm Jack Beyer for NSF. Welcome, everybody. I see the 5x5s in chat, so thank you for letting us know that you can hear us loud and clear. Joining me and us today on the stream, on the old CTL, is Alex. Alex, how you doing?
I'm doing great. A bit of a slip. It's one extra day, but that means this thing. Hang on, this thing can happen again. Hopefully not in a bad orientation though. This was ship 28. Bad because it re-entered in the wrong orientation. Ship 29 hopefully will re-enter in the right orientation. Cross your fingers.
Fingers are crossed. Also joining us is Trevor Sesnick. Am I saying your last name right, Trevor?
Yes, you've asked me this like 3 times and you've always been correct.
You should be more worried about my last names than Trevor's.
Romero.
Trevor's is...
Yours is Romero. That's easy.
No, there's two. There's also Alcantarilla.
Alcantarilla.
There you go.
Yeah, thank you. See, yours is easy. Trevor's, I don't know. It could be tricky. I don't know. I'm just trying to be nice, Trevor. Is it okay if I'm nice to you?
I suppose. It's the Americanized version of Sesnick. The original version, I don't even know how to pronounce. Alex probably can pronounce it better than I can.
Chesnick or something like that? I don't know.
Yeah, but there's another thing on the C. I don't know the weird character thingies.
All right, well, that's neither here nor there. Let's talk about Starship, because again, we have had some updates, and a whole bunch has happened just today alone, starting off with a restack of Ship 29 atop Booster 11. Hooray for the return of the full stack once again. But will it stay that way? Question mark? Alex, we'll go with you first.
Yeah, it's a bit weird. I guess we can do some kind of, ring in the veil or something. I'm undecided yet. Because there's still missing tiles on Ship 29, but they are at the bottom. In theory, they could probably reach it with the lifts that they have. But that's something that I will have to actually see to figure that out. There's a good chance that they destack after this. And if so, why are they stacking now? Why is it that it is in full stack configuration? That's something that we also don't know about. They could be doing final fit checks or anything like it, like maybe some kind of last minute fit check of things, trying to test the QDs, for example, or something like that. We really don't know. And and usually when these things happen, the only thing that we can do is just keep watching, keep looking at all the stuff that's going on, and figure out from what is happening what else they may be doing. They may also be doing some testing. Who knows, right? It's already Saturday. We have not seen any road closures for testing, but they can spool those up really quickly. So who knows? Maybe they're going to be doing some testing on Monday or something. we don't know. As I said, it's just a matter of seeing what happens and seeing whatever they do with this full stack.
Interesting. Trevor, anything to add there?
It seems likely to me that we'll get another D-stack, but like Alex said, it does seem possible that this could be final stack, but we'll just have to wait. We'll be here to cover it no matter what, though.
I've already seen people in chat mentioning the interview of Tim Dodd with Elon. I should say though, Tim is currently in Florida. Like, he was also like covered in Starliner and whatnot. So I don't know. Maybe it's not for that.
Right.
Will be
Maybe
very
not.
early to really stack it for him. I wouldn't complain, but
I mean, it could be for like photo ops and whatnot. We've seen them
Yeah.
stack for like team photos or Cybertruck photos, stuff like that in the past. So
I asked in like to our SPL ops, I was saying, hey, has anyone seen a Cybertruck with a Raptor or something like last
Right.
time?
Right, that
It
would be
does
cool.
really go to highlight one of the advantages of the system, though, where they're so easily able to stack and destack the vehicle. Right, this process with SLS or other vehicles takes literally weeks.
Yeah.
So just a huge advantage that Starship has.
Yeah, really good point to make. I mean, if they need it stacked, they can stack it. If they needed to destack it, they can destack it. It's not like, oh geez, it's gonna take a month. Got to roll it
Yeah.
all the way back to the production site, put it in a building, and then that would be
Just
not
a
great.
couple of hours and it's easy.
Cool deal. Well, that is return of the stack. I mean, we'll have to see what happens if it sticks around. I mean, with the missing tiles, I'm inclined to think that they will destack and get those final couple tiles sorted out, but who knows?
Especially given Elon's post on X the other day about how right now the heat shield is not resilient to a missing tile on most places in the heat shield. And he was saying that, right, this is really the biggest challenge to overcome with Starship is having a heat shield that is not super heavy like Dragons and can be fully reusable. And he was saying he's going to talk more about it in the interview with Tim, but apparently this heat shield design is not very good when it comes to tile loss, which I'm slightly skeptical of, but we'll see.
Yeah,
and a lot of people. Oh, go ahead.
No, go ahead, Alex.
I was gonna say a lot of people took it to mean that they cannot lose any tile at all on Starship. When what he was talking about is like in specific sections, they may not be able to lose a tile and survive because those sections in particular are very are a little bit more vulnerable. We don't really know what are those places, right? Or what are the other places where you could probably
You
lose
can
a
certainly
tile
make
and be okay.
educated guesses. Like around the flaps is an area where almost certainly they can lose one. But
yeah,
it's also
maybe
unclear
close to the
since he
leeward
said,
side. That's where you probably can lose a tile and not really lose the vehicle because it's farther away.
It's also somewhat not clear to me, but I think you said most areas. He may not mean like most tiles. He could just mean like, the specific areas like around the flaps, around the nose cone, where they're less where they could not be able to lose one. But I don't know. We'll see. Hopefully this is all data that they collect on this flight, especially if they make it through re-entry successfully.
Right. Yeah, fingers crossed, because it's some critical data that they need to gather, and hopefully they're able to do so. Go for Throttle Up. Thank you for becoming a Capcom member. Pop into Discord and say, hey, because you have Discord access now at Capcom level and above. Hooray! Musical Wolves, what's up, buddy? Thanks for the super chat. They say, what will happen to the hot stage ring after it separates? Will it have its own FTS, or will it splash down hard? I assume splash down hard, but I just have to take a second. Have you guys seen those? I forget what country they're popular in, but it's like the firework. It's like a giant wheel, and they light the fireworks, and it starts spinning like really fast, and then like goes up really, really, really high. That's what I imagine the hot stage ring is like. It's not going to do that, but that's what I imagine it doing. She'll put some like small solids like sepatrons from KSP on there and just have it yeet itself into orbit. I don't know. Don't do that. But anyways, where do we
Yeah,
think that hot state? Like, do you think it's gonna touch down hard? Do you think they snuck some parachutes on there? I don't think they did that. But like,
I don't know
what's
if I don't know if Jay may be able to pull up the Flight 2 read and reevaluation where they talk about the hot staging ring jettison. But yeah, I believe it says there on that document that they expect it to maybe go all the way to the ocean intact, because like it's not a huge speed that it's going at that point when it should be jettisoned, and so it is probably not going to be breaking up or something, so it'll probably just fall down to the ocean in one piece. And yeah, I guess it'll just break up when it impacts the ocean, because it's probably going to be impacting at a substantial speed. And once we get to that, I don't know, maybe we'll see some debris floating, some of them may sink. I guess we'll see if we actually see anything. To be fair, we might not see anything.
yeah? We'll just have to
I
see
see
what happens on the day.
they're trying to bring it up.
Good deal.
It's page 13. It's there on our document, Jay.
While Jay's looking for it really quickly, Luke is asking, Alex, will we ever get a meetup in Seville? I could bring some hamon, better than bacon for Jack.
Well, you will have both. You will have bacon and jamon. We
Bacon
could
wrapped,
do that.
bacon wrapped hamon. I'm down.
Yeah.
Trevor's like, that's gross.
Yep, definitely.
Oh, good deal. Well, there's the
go.
dock.
Maybe if we can zoom in. I don't even see it on our preview. But yeah, that's the
Yeah,
part
it's
where
the
it
forward
says
heat shield interstage, 30 and 400 kilometers offshore. SpaceX would not recover the forward heat shield, and it is expected to sink.
Yeah. So there you go. It is expected to sink.
Good deal. Well, there you go.
Chris
I do.
is up for the Seville meetup, apparently.
Ooh. That would be
It's
cool.
Seville.
So yeah, that's sort of the state of play there. Hot stage ring. I'm eagerly awaiting version 2 of the booster because I want to see what it looks like once it's integrated with the booster itself. Because Starship is supposed to be fully and rapidly reusable, right? And even if it's a very, very, very small part, basically one ring's worth of the entire stack, heating the hot stage ring means it's not reusable. So we'll have to see how that plays out. But eventually, it'll just be integrated with the booster, right? And will not be the need for it to be yacht will not exist.
Yacht.
Yeah, it's past tense.
Yeah.
He yeeted, she yacht, I yeet.
It is interesting, right? Because right now, the benefit of being able to not have the hot staging ring integrated on the booster is that you can remove it and then work on all of the stuff that is on the forward dome of the booster, which is things like that are very important, such as the motors for those grid fins. And frankly, if you cannot access those things because it's only integrated into your booster, it tends to be a lot more complicated to work on that, right? Like, it really needs to be done well from the onset. This is also why, for example, on the version 2 renders that we saw from SpaceX a couple of months ago, I had my doubts, at least on the booster design. First, because we saw like the grid fins were installed directly on the methane tank. That was weird.
Right.
Right? Like, what was going on with those grid fins like directly mounted on the tank? And then obviously, the hot staging ring was like in one kind of hot staging, where it's more like a lattice than a ring that you add onto the booster. So I don't know. We'll just have to wait and see. It also seems like maybe we'll not get booster, version 2 straight away. That it probably is going to be booster version 1 with shape version 2 on top. What's going on? Okay, sorry. Yeah, Jack is doing noises on our end. But anyways, um, yeah.
What
So
is
we don't really know right now. He's currently trying to fight a cat apparently. Um, but yeah, that's essentially what you know what might be happening with the booster. That we still haven't seen any particular version 2 hardware for that booster. That you can see Jack fighting a cat.
I have
This
to.
is
Okay,
entertaining
no,
content.
no, she ran away. We're
Jack,
good.
I believe in you. You can win.
No, she ran away. We're good. Everything's
You're
good.
muted on our end. I don't know if people watching can.
Okay, everything's fine. Let's move
There
on.
you go.
Revhead, thanks for gifting 5 Red Team memberships. Pebmets, that's one of those familiar names. I feel like I haven't seen Pebmets in a little while. Dream Chaser seems to have worked off of the shuttle's tile system. Why not look at shuttle concept for adhesion and design? Shuttle's issue was being on the side of the stack, which opened it for debris hits. Yeah, I mean, I'm sure
Well,
SpaceX is benefiting from everything that was learned during the shuttle program that NASA is able to share with them. After all, HLS is an important part of the Starship program, and while HLS doesn't have tiles on itself, because it's not meant to re-enter the Earth's atmosphere, all of the tankers that are necessary to fill it up are.
yeah, I will say though, don't call it off already for Dream Chaser, right? Because it still needs to return from orbit, and it's not really like they're talking about the adhesive on shuttle. Starship also uses adhesive, and it's actually those parts where they use adhesive where it's actually the most complicated parts on Starship. The difference between Starship and Dream Chaser and Shuttle is that Shuttle and Dream Chaser did not hold any cryogenic propellants while, being in space or whatever. Whereas for Starship, this fella over here, it holds cryogenic propellants. So you have contraction of the hull, you have expansion when it heats up and whatever. You have a lot of differential, right? Yeah, I mean, you still have differentials when you have the sort of room temperature, I guess, from the shuttle or the Dream Chaser. I should say, Starliner also uses technology from Starliner and Orion. Both use also shuttle's heat shield technology for the leeward side, not the main heat shield, but the leeward side of those capsules also use that technology, and it works fine. The material works fine, right? That's the whole point. The problem is none of those vehicles have to go down to cryogenic temperatures and then heat up to thousands of degrees. And that is a very complicated matter because you really need to maintain all of that and also be able to replace maybe tiles very quickly. So that's why they have these pins. It's actually that pin system that seems to work better than the adhesive, than those glued tiles. And we've seen them doing this testing on the glued tiles and trying to change even the materials for the glues. The Ring Watchers, they have an excellent overview of the things that have changed for this flight, and one of them, and we've seen them through our cameras, and our photographers Mary, you, Jack, and Sean out there, you all took pictures of how they were changing the tiles on Ship 29, and one of the changes that they did was changing the glues that they were using for those glued tiles that they have. It's not the entire ship that has glued tiles, but on certain spots they do have glued tiles, and so those have been actually a headache for them instead of the pins. So yeah, using the shuttle system of gluing tiles, it's actually being the opposite. It's actually being a challenge for them.
Yeah. I mean, yes, the tiles on Starship are the long pole. They are the biggest hurdle. Whatever metaphor you want to use. That tweet from Elon, in the last week, last couple of days, really, said it all.
And he put it very well, where he was like, it's not about ideas, it's about execution, right? We just gotta need to get this ship out there in near orbital speeds, re-enter it and see if it works, and whatever needs to be changed, right? Like that's the whole deal, execution. Now they are at a point where they can actually probably get a ship through re-entry and figure out what else works and what doesn't. And that's the whole point.
Now is the time to fly it and figure out what any issues they might end up encountering are. and then iterate and iterate and iterate, and you keep flying, you keep finding issues, you keep fixing them, and eventually won't even be a thing that we worry about. I'm confident we'll get there.
Yep.
Minor Downfall asking with a super chat, thank you. Would you put the James Webb Telescope on Starship? James Webb needed the extraordinary performances of the French Ariane 5, and that's something. I think, if Starship was a mature enough rocket and existed when James Webb launched, it would have been fine. Maybe they could have gotten away with
right
folding
now,
less.
when I put it on, no.
Right, yeah, agreed.
Yeah.
That's why I said mature enough system.
I know.
Trevor.
Yeah, I would imagine you would need quite a few refueling tankers to get James Webb to where it went, since Starship is fantastic for getting things to low Earth orbit. Anything higher energy than that, it really starts to struggle just because of how massive that second stage is. And that's why they advertise as 150 tons to anywhere. And that's with a number of refillings depending on where you're going. And the refillings are just because Starships, right, in the rocket equation, you have the natural log of the mass ratio term, and Starship's mass ratio is quite low just because the dry mass of the vehicle is so high since you have the flaps and all of the recovery hardware. So, yeah.
Good deal. Nate Saunders with a super chat. Thank you. They say, hopefully we'll see a successful reentry with onboard footage like IFT3. Yeah, fingers crossed we get reentry footage like all the way down. I'd be so happy. Anna, thank you for grabbing. What did you grab? The Flight 4 patch. They say, Godspeed. I wish I could be with you all. Love the giggles. Aw. Matt's gifting more memberships after all of the memberships they gifted during the Starliner stream. I almost said Starship stream. This is the Starship stream, not the Starliner stream. Thank you for gifting 5 Red Team memberships, Matt's. Christopher, thank you for the support. They got, what did they get, the patch? They got a print. Chris, they got one of my prints. Thank you. It really means a lot.
Hey.
Oh, they got the Eclipse print.
Diamond ring.
Heck
That was
yeah.
a cool one.
That was. Fun fact.
That was a cool stream, by the way.
You can see the clouds in that image. There was maybe a 5 to 10 second window to take that shot before it was either too cloudy or the diamond ring effect was gone because the moon had moved. Like, that was an extremely. I'm thankful I pulled that shot off. Yeah, I'm extremely happy. So thank you for grabbing that. It's a really meaningful image to me. It's a really cool event. And they say this makes 4 West Coast, Best Coast. So if you have 3 other prints from us, let alone me, that's outstanding. Thank you, Christopher. Always love when people enjoy our work enough to put it on their own walls. That's the biggest compliment you could possibly give one of us. Apocalypse Cow, Danger Moo, gifting 5 Red Team memberships. Thanks, Danger Moo. Hi, thank you. All right, well, should we move on to our next topic? Topic dose?
Yeah. Launch
You're
no
up
more
speaking
on the
Spanish?
5th.
But yeah, that's true. No longer on the 5th.
Lancho numero dos. That's Spanish, right?
Yeah,
No.
so I believe it was this morning we got the MSIB Marine Safety Information Bulletin, which was updated for June 6th, showing that June 5 was no longer the launch target. Then later, earlier this morning, SpaceX posted on X confirming that they're targeting no earlier than June 6th, pending regulatory approval. As we've talked about before, the FAA agreed to SpaceX's request to not finish the IFT-3 investigation ahead of Flight 4. SpaceX's argument was because both of our vehicles re-entered within the predefined re-entry corridors, we never posed any risk to the public, and were like, therefore, we should not have to finish this investigation ahead of Flight 4. The FAA said, we agree with this. You guys are good to proceed with launch activities. That said, the modification to the launch license still has not come. That we are expecting, obviously not today or tomorrow since it's the weekend, but probably early next week, early to mid next week if the Thursday launch date holds. But yeah, as of right now, everything is still looking good for this next week. We have, right, obviously the wet dress is done. We have road closures for flight. We have the marine hazard zones. We have the notice to air mission in Mexico. So we're just waiting on the TFR in the USA to come out, and then evacuation notice and that launch license modification that I was talking about earlier. So let's all cross our fingers that all comes in time for launch, which is currently no earlier than June 6th. And I believe the window opens at 7 a.m. local time, just like all of the previous missions.
Yep, that will be 1200 UTC.
Yep. So there you go. Moving to the 6th. We have a question here from Jastroop asking, do we know the reason for the delay? Nope.
No.
I mean,
It
fair
might be
question.
a very small adjustment, right? It's like one day. Usually
Right.
when it's one day or so, it's just that they need a little bit more time. If it were a week or something, then maybe something more important is happening there. But a day normally is just that they need a little bit more time. It's okay. It happens.
Yep.
It gives us more time to prepare, so I'm honestly thankful.
It's
Right.
it's not a lot of more time though. It's just 24 hours. But
But
Hey,
yeah.
I'll take it.
better than zero.
I'll take it. Bhuvan is asking, any news from the FAA? Who wants to
Nope.
take that one?
Other than what Adrian got from the FAA on Tuesday, we really haven't heard anything. We're essentially just waiting now for the launch license modification, right? Like that's the whole thing that is left now. I mean, for SpaceX, it's not the only thing left. They probably have a bunch of paperwork to hand over and everything. But that safety determination was announced on Tuesday, was actually completed last Friday, not yesterday, but like a week before that. And so that was completed last week, and that's essentially one of the two ways that a company has to be able to return to flight, where you either complete the whole full mishap report and investigation and whatnot, or you just say, okay, look, we'll still need more work on the report. We still need to work on things here, but we can at least make sure, if the FAA actually goes through all the data, that indeed no public safety, there was no lack of public safety or anything like it, that none of that was violated during the flight, and therefore, you can, in theory, if the FAA agrees that that was the case, that there was no danger to the public or anything, then you can proceed with a return to flight. That's where you can see those two options: FAA acceptance of final mishap investigation report, or FAA public safety determination. So that's the second one. That's what SpaceX has chosen to go with for this time around. I believe they asked the FAA in early April, although we only got to know in mid-May. And again, last week, the FAA confirmed that they were agreeing with the SpaceX that no safety, no public safety was damaged or harmed or anything like it during Flight 3. And therefore, SpaceX can just continue with their normal licensing for Flight 4 without completing the mishap report. But they already have a lot of data, right? We had that update from SpaceX last week on the things that they saw on Flight 3 and all of their potential reasons why things failed and things like that on Flight 3. So they probably have a good idea. They just don't have the full investigation report completed, and so that's probably why they asked the FAA to please, can we keep forward without completing the report? And that makes sense. They probably need this flight to go. Perhaps that was one of the theories that you were throwing around when that happened, Jack. I remember, you proposing that maybe they just need Flight 4 to happen and gather the data from this flight, right? That they probably need that to add into all of the information from the mishap report and close it out. That's a potential thing, yeah.
Now, when it comes to the launch license modification, while we're talking FAA, do we think There's a possibility we could see Flight 5 and Flight 4 on the same modification, or how does that all work? Like, there's been the talk of the rapid turnaround for a while now, you know what I mean?
You said that yesterday on the Flame Trench. You asked that.
I did. Did you answer it?
Yeah. You were not watching my answer? Oh my god.
It was like I had not great signal, so it was in and out.
Yeah, okay. Well, my whole summary of all the stuff that I said, because obviously it was a long answer, it was just that, it could go both ways. It could go either it's included or not. And there's reasons to think that it might not be included, because if, you could think, well, if it's included, then that means they need to stick to a plan now for Flight 5, right? Whereas if for whatever reason something happens on Flight 4, they may change their minds and test something completely different on Flight 5, for example, right? So perhaps doing a launch license for both flights right now might lock them in something that, they in the future, they may change their mind.
Who's
this?
Who's got the press conference going? There we go. It's gone again. There's the Starliner press conference is going on right now. I think that's what that was. I blame Trevor.
Yeah, but that's my answer, that it could go both ways.
Good deal. Standard Alex.
I'm not even watching it.
5-minute wishy-washy answer.
Oh, come on. This one was like 1 minute. It was just interrupted by Kevin in the Starliner conference.
Kevin Michael Reed, more like Kevin Muted Reed.
But you know who can actually not mute him? You, because you don't have muting powers.
Yeah. Pascal, thank you for grabbing the Flight 4 patch. They say greetings from Switzerland. Nice. And Chazbomb1, thank you for the 2 curly L's. They say, wish I could give you guys more. Love what you do. You know what? That's $2, £2. Don't wish you could give us more. I appreciate
you
the
don't
thought.
need to give
we
anything,
all do.
Really.
Yeah, exactly. You don't need to give anything. If you can and you want to, we appreciate it. And that's amazing, and it helps us continue to do what we do. If you can't, or if you can only give us so much, please don't feel bad. Please don't. It's amazing either way. The number of people who watch streams and like contribute to the thing they're watching, whether it's us or something else or what have you, versus the number of people that just watch, like any amount, £2, whatever. Thank you so much. It's doesn't matter if it's $1 or $100. It's so appreciated. Bob grabbing a Sean print and a me print. Holy cow. Thank you, Bob. They say, I really appreciate you guys and all of your hard work, observing everything and keeping the world informed. Nice. They got the Orion Nebula print. And what's the other one? And they got the Eclipse print. Nice. Heck yeah. Thank you so much, Bob. Again, they're really nice prints. They're printed directly on metal. They are super easy to hang. They look great. You don't need a frame or anything like that. And a portion of the sale goes directly to the photographer who took the image. So it's so appreciated.
I believe we now have normal prints, right? Like non-metal prints.
Yes.
Things that you can just... Yeah, so that is also a thing that we have now. Because I think those are more economical, so, if you don't feel like, buying the metal print, you also have the normal print.
Yeah, there are paper prints. They're still very nice and they still look great, but yeah, it's just not a piece of metal. So they're a little bit less expensive. But a portion of the sale of those too also goes to the photographer. So either way, if you're enjoying our work so much that you want to put it on your wall, that is a huge compliment. So thank you. Lainey Lana.
Wow.
Another 50 gifted memberships. That's like 100 plus gifted memberships from them. Plus they became a flight engineer
today. They say, I want you all here for Starship 4.
All right. Well, if it weren't for American Airlines, I would literally be on a plane flying back to Starbase right now. Thanks, American Airlines. But instead, I get to be on Countdown to Launch with y'all. Yay! Yay!
You seem salty.
Yay, Trevor! Cool, let's do some more questions. What? No, what? Go ahead.
You seem like you would rather be on a plane than with our wonderful viewers. That is offensive.
That's not true. I love our viewers.
Someone said, wait a minute, weren't you guys live just a while ago? Yeah, we're doing
Yeah.
a lot of live streams lately.
Yes.
Because we had a
And-
Starliner before.
yeah, the plan
So much
was
star this week.
the plan was we'd wrap the Starliner stream and then I would run to the airport. But during the Starliner stream, I got a notification that my flight had been canceled, just arbitrarily. Thanks, American Airlines. Speaking of, GeoHound65 says, I want to send thanks to all the teams for the cadence of shows you're putting together. Fantastic. Remember, like, I don't know, over a year ago for Artemis when I was like, we're pulling out all the stops? Turns out we lost the stops. We never put them back in. So it's just no stop. There's just no stops.
No stops.
Yeah. Talking about the heat shield tiles, Tom Farrell's asking, how much do we know about the composition of the tiles? They're silica based, right? That's about all I know.
Yeah, ceramic. Yeah.
Yeah.
Don't eat the tiles. Pro tip.
But you can eat.
But they look
on the
so
tiles,
tasty.
I can neither
Eat it.
confirm or deny being able to eat off a heat shield tile. I cannot believe that's a sentence that just came out of my mouth. Here's one
I
that's
bet a
going to make.
knife would damage it pretty easily, though.
I can neither confirm or deny the ease of damaging a heat shield tile with a butter knife. Thomas Harper with a question that will make Gage sad, saying, what would happen if Starship came down belly flopping, but it hit a bird on the way down? Won't that severely damage tiles? I mean, yeah. But
By
also,
the time
Also
it's
the bird.
but by the time it's at a level where there would be a bird, like it doesn't matter. The heat shield isn't
Right.
needed at that point.
right, that's exactly what I was going to say. At that point, when you're at that point in the atmosphere that you're hitting birds potentially, you're no longer at peak heating or anywhere close to any kind of heating that's you're going to worry about broken tiles. Of course, it'd be a refurbishment issue, but I mean, what if a Starship is out on the pad and there's a whole bunch of hail? Wouldn't that damage the tiles? Yeah, don't put a Starship out on the pad in hail.
hail.
Don't fly a belly flopping Starship through flocks of birds. Yeah.
Hey, you can always land it in the Hudson.
Oh,
True. I just imagine like Jared Isaacman pulling a Sully Sullenberger and be like, I'm bringing it in the Hudson. Doug, thank you for the store purchase. They got the Flight 4 patch. They say, you guys are so great. And boy, am I glad you actually had the foresight to buy land at Boca. You and me both.
thank you, Michael.
Did I just merch pied myself?
Yes.
You did just
You
merch
did.
pie yourself.
That was a sweet thank you, Trevor. You don't think all of our membies that way.
I was saying, wasn't it Michael who really Mike the Baylor that really pushed for land and all of that?
And me. It was Michael and me.
Thank you, Jack. Sorry, I'll give you that one.
Mm.
And Doss and everyone else who worked on it.
Lar was a huge help too.
Man.
Gohan's asking what was the reason for the scrub for ULA today. Computer said no. That's the short answer. Why computer said no? It didn't load into the proper configuration. Why didn't it load into the proper configuration? Well, there's a press conference going on right now, so maybe we'll get some more tidbits about that.
Yeah.
Let's do some more questions. How about? And y'all, keep them coming. I see some good ones in here I'm picking out. Bob Smith would really like to know if there's any chance of building more version 1 starships if this flight fails objectives. Well, there's... How many more after this? 2?
Perhaps 2, maybe 3. At
What's
most.
the maybe if we're counting 26?
No, we have 30, 31, and then there's 32, but 32 hasn't been really worked on for a long while. So
32 is just
I think
sitting in the
theory.
32 is just sitting in the rocket garden without a raceway still, right? And no aft flaps.
Exactly.
I bet that they don't want to do any more V1 flights. Like, even if this flight doesn't go to plan, I think by the time they launch those, they've kind of learned all of the lessons they can learn from V1. And they would rather just focus on V2 and start learning from a ship that has a ton of changes to it.
Yeah, it makes sense. With so often with Starship, they like end up retrofitting and spending a lot of time retrofitting fixes onto older vehicles because the development progress is just going so fast. It's like by the time you get ready to finally launch the next one, you've learned so much, you have to do a whole bunch of retrofits. And at a certain point, I imagine you have to pick like, oh, we're only going to do this subset of retrofits that we know we need, just because if we kept doing retrofits forever, we would never actually launch.
Yeah. I know for
So
a while at Starbase, the longest lead item on these vehicles was retrofits, especially after, before Flight 1, they did a ton of retrofits. Then after Flight 1, they did a ton of retrofits. So just the constant retrofit grind, which hopefully that should be becoming significantly less now that the retrofits are getting smaller and smaller.
I guarantee
We'll
you,
see.
as we get into Starship version 2 proper, the cycle will repeat exactly the same. The first couple will not have retrofits because they'll have all this stuff incorporated into them, and then after they fly one or two, or at least after they test one or two, then it'll be retrofit city again. And then that's why, I mean, that's the whole point of having the different major versions, right? Because at a certain point, you just say, no, we're not going to build any
Yeah.
more of these. We're going to roll all of the changes into this new thing and then start. It's not like a clean slate, but you know what I mean.
Yeah. No, that's for sure true. But I mean, hopefully the retrofits are becoming smaller, right? We're not going to have any more where they need to drastically increase the amount of CO2 on board and create an entire system for that.
Right.
Hopefully, we're not going. Hopefully, after this flight, we're not going to see any more blockages of the engine inlets and the liquid oxygen tanks. So those retrofits can be behind SpaceX. But that's something that they'll have to learn by launching.
Yep. Yop. Thank you for gifting one Red Team membership. I hope I pronounced your name properly. What a great name. And Gina is asking, will application of the TPS tiles always be a manual job, or do you think it could ever be mechanized? I could see a world where it's mechanized. Like, you have a bunch of robot arms just like beep, 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 like putting all the hexagons in place. Probably way, way far off on that, but I could see that happening. I could also see a world where Starship has like a little drone buddy that it, farts out in orbit and it floats around Starship and uses a camera. Because Starship doesn't have an arm, right? Like it doesn't have a Canadarm like the shuttle did. So some way to inspect the heat shield on orbit, little drone buddy. I think I could imagine that. I don't know. What do you think, Trevor? Do you think the TPS tile application could ever be mechanized?
I think it'll have to be when SpaceX's goal is launching.
Yeah, or maybe muted on our end.
You're muted.
And not on
Sorry, I was only muted in Discord for some reason.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it has to be. Like, SpaceX's goal is to be launching tens of thousands of these per year, eventually even more than that. When you're building that many ships, you're not going to have a human installing every single tile. That's just too laborious.
Agreed.
One of the things that I will say, though, it is already partially robotic in the sense that these dots, for them to be able to install the tiles, I believe those are robotically welded on the rings. So once they robotically weld that, then they can put in the heat shield tiles. I'm not sure if they also do every single one of them robotically, though, because the ones that we see being installed manually are after a lot of these barrel sections have already been shipped out and everything, right? So we never fully know what is going on inside of the Star Factory. Even back when there were tents, we never fully saw, doing a full barrel section that was done manually. Like there's a good chance that maybe they're also doing some kind of early robotic installation of tiles, and we just don't know because that thing is giant. So
Yeah, it is possible. Good point.
yeah.
Telstar, thank you for gifting a Red Team membership. Go ahead, Alex.
I was gonna say, should we talk about the other thing that has happened today?
Oh,
There's like
yeah, we should
we
talk
have
about
like
another
a
thing.
little bit more of the show, so we
Do
can
it.
probably talk about the other thing.
Do it.
Well, I don't know if our operators. Oh, there we go.
Hey,
They're
what's
actually
that?
ready.
And more
Huh?
importantly, where is it?
Huh? I think that's the VAV, right? Obviously, I know it is the VAV, but yeah, that's Kennedy Space Center, and that's the Starship launch tower hardware. That is the section number 5 of the second Starbase launch tower, and the carriage system for the chopsticks. So this is essentially an incoming arrival, I guess. It's currently departing or about to depart the Kennedy Space Center, but soon to arrive at Starbase. So, you may remember that 7 of the 9 tower sections for the second Starship launch tower at Starbase has been built at the Cape. So they have this Roberts Road facility. We have covered all of this, by the way, on our flyover videos and everything. So if you want a full rundown and everything of all the little details and how it has all evolved around, along the way and everything, you can watch back all of those videos and you'll get the full story. But essentially, those 7 sections, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6 and 7, and then 8 and 9, those were only in pieces at the Kennedy Space Center. They sent it out. They sent those pieces out to Starbase. They have been built, those pieces at the Sanchez lot at Starbase, and the other 7 that were already completed at Roberts Road. They moved out 5 of these sections already, 1, 2, 3, and 6 and 7 to Starbase. They are already at the Sanchez lot. They were recently moved from Port of Brownsville to that place, to the Sanchez lot, and there were 2 remaining tower sections 4 and 5. Those are the closest ones to the QD arm, the ship quick disconnect arm, and so the one that we saw there, that was section number 5, which is literally the one that holds the arm. We were able to see earlier when it was rolling out the points where the arm is swinged and everything it's connected to, and it swings out and everything.
Swinged?
Swing, whatever. Yeah, like
Swung?
swung out, whatever. Yeah, I don't care. You said yacht, so like let's not
Yeah,
get
yeah. I yeet,
into the minutiae.
she yote, he, she, they
Yeah.
yachted. It's normal.
But yeah, that's essentially where we are. That's also the carriage system. That's the thing. Those claws that you see there, that attaches to the tower, and on the other end, they install the chopsticks. So that's what connects the chopsticks to the tower. Those grabby things go on the rails on the chopstick on the towers there, and then they go up and down with the help of those rails, and
Okay,
that's what
so
allows the chopsticks to go up and down the tower.
there's one tower segment of 2, and the chopsticks cradle now in position to be barged. Do we think they're also going to move the ship QD arm and the other tower segment like all at once? Is that too big for the barge? What do we expect? Is it like going to be 2 shipments, 1 shipment?
Yeah, the thing is, the Starship Tower at 39A doesn't have a QD arm, right? It's like, is that QD arm for 39A or for Starbase? I guess we'll find out, right? In the next few days. They also need to ship the chopsticks. I don't know if we may be able to pull out like a view of 39A, but 39A does have chopsticks. So they have chopsticks installed on the 39A Starship Tower. What they don't have is the quick disconnect arm, but they are working already on the foundations for an OLM. So there's definitely and like paperwork and everything for an OLM and everything. So we don't really know where that quick disconnect arm is going. Perhaps it'll go to Starbase. Perhaps they'll make another quick disconnect, especially for the Starship tower somewhere else. We'll see. We'll see what can fit on that barge. The barge is not even there. Like they just rolled this out and they're waiting for the barge. I think it's not even there yet. They're just waiting on that barge to arrive.
Cool deal. Well, more Starship hardware on the way to Starbase shortly.
Can
I really feel like they're going to start stacking up that second tower here sooner rather than later. Go ahead.
That's exactly what I was going to ask. When do we think they're going to be stacking the tower? Because we've seen already the foundations. We saw them like a couple of weeks ago. You did a flyover with Mary out there at Starbase. And then this week we got Harry Stranger. He got this SAR picture like I think 2 days ago. And, with SAR, it's like radar. So you can see all of the metallic things. And the foundations, they have all of these rebar and everything already laid down. So you could see all of the little pieces of the rebar in the square of the tower foundation. So it's quite amazing. They already have all of that. So I don't know. When do you think they're going to be putting all of those segments together?
Sometime in the next 2 months.
2 months instead of 2
Right.
weeks.
2 months. No, I mean they still need to pour the concrete foundation for the base of the tower, and then that needs time to cure before they stack a whole bunch of heavy stuff on top of it. I think the curing time of concrete is normally around 2 weeks. I'm not joking. I think it's like 14 days. But you get most of the strength of the cured concrete after I think half of that time, or maybe it's most of the strength after 14 days, and then it's fully cured after 28 or something along. It's something like that. But my point is they haven't poured the base of the tower yet, and that alone will take time, and then that has to cure for some period of time before they start putting stuff on top of it. So I'm going to say.
And presumably.
Oh, there you go. Those are the pictures.
And presumably at this point, they're obviously a little bit more focused on giving us this wonderful site. Where the 33 Raptors behind me. There we go. That site again. This is just SpaceX has a lot going on down there, and this is lower priority than flight. So I would agree with Jack. Like probably within a month or so, maybe 2 months.
Yeah.
But
I have a hunch that we'll probably see. Oh, go ahead, Trevor. Sorry.
No, go ahead. I was going to transition to our last topic. So.
Okay. Well, I was just going to say that, the first thing that they do for the tower is usually that concrete base. I think that at least we're probably going to see the start of that maybe by the end of this month, I think, at the very least. That's like the ground level, so to speak. It's like the bottommost part of the tower. And then they start putting all of these tower sections. I think we may have to wait until maybe the end of July for the stacking of the sections. And it took 3 months for both the first and the second towers. The first one at Starbase and the second tower being the one at 39A. So maybe October for the full tower structure to be completed. Obviously, that is not the end of outfitting the towers. We know they have a lot of other things to install and everything. But I can see maybe the structure of the tower being complete by fall.
I'm Big Snack 100. A member in chat says they can't stop us. We all can eat the rebar. That would be a big
rebar.
snack.
I eat bars, but not rebars.
Moving right along. I'd rather be flying an X-Wing. Thanks for the $5 tip. They say, is there any news on the Tesla bot? I'm tired of doing dishes. It's slightly more than a person in a robot costume, is my understanding. I don't really know much beyond that. Spambot, thanks for gifting a Red Team membership. And Bideford, hi Bideford. Everybody say hi to Bideford. Hi Bideford.
Hi Bideford.
Hi.
Bideford with a $25 super saying, thank you to the best group out there that are all on NSF. And how come NSF isn't getting the Elon interview? Happy weekend to NSF fans too. You know what? Tim does a great job. Every single one of his Elon interviews has been great. I'm greatly looking forward to this next one. Would I love if we had a similar opportunity to take a look at the factory or climb the tower or anything, yeah, of course. You know, they know where to find us if they want to give us that
Hmm.
op. But in the meantime, we all have Tim to live vicariously through, thankfully, because he will, of course, do a fantastic job once again, and I'm looking forward to it.
And to be fair,
I
we
guess
cannot
that
do everything, like have access to literally everything, right? Like sometimes we have access to things that other people don't have access to, and that's fair, right? Like,
Right.
you know.
But
Yeah,
I
it's just
guess
how it
it's a good
goes.
transition to the little bit of sad news we got just yesterday.
Right.
Unfortunately, Dear Moon
Yep.
has been canceled. Right, that was the trip that got announced in 2018 by Yuzaku Mazawa, or if I butchered that pronunciation, I'm sorry. Where he was going to go around the moon with what I believe 10 other people.
Something like that, yeah.
For a lunar flyby with a bunch of content creators. And basically, the whole point of the project was to inspire artists by flying around the moon. And he announced the crew about a year and a half ago. And then suddenly, he go away. Sorry.
Are you fighting
Suddenly,
a cat now too?
no, Siri for some reason came up. Uh, And unfortunately, for some reason, the whole thing was canned yesterday. It sounded like the official reason that YM gave on X was that it was originally going to launch in 2023, and obviously that didn't happen. But also, to me, it's like, of course, that was never going to happen. So I don't know. It's
Right.
kind of a weird thing, but I feel really bad for all of the crew members that thought they were going to have this awesome opportunity and then kind of had it taken out from under them.
Right. It's got to be a real gut punch. It's just a shame, and I've seen even some pushback on some of the posts on Twitter, from some of the crew. Like, yeah, it's just I don't think anybody, including those involved, thought that the 2023 launch was actually going to be a thing. I mean, you look at the development of Starship, you see where it's at in its development program. You know that it's still a prototype, and there's going to be many, many, many launches to go before you put people on it. Like, that's not a shock. Yes, it's a delay based on the original estimate, but when was Dear Moon announced? Like 2018?
Yeah.
Like
Yep.
6 years ago? Like,
I
brand new
think it
rocket,
was September
It was
18th,
September.
2018.
Yeah.
world's biggest rocket. There was a Joe Bernard tweet, I think, last night in response to Yusaku, and it was like,
Yeah.
bro, did you really think that the world's largest rocket 6 years out was going to hold schedule? Like, you can't honestly have thought that. So my gut reaction, and this is my own personal opinion, is that the delays are being used to sort of save face. And like, oh yeah, I don't want to cancel it, but it's so delayed. I can't keep just keeping people in limbo, and it's like a whole thing. Oh man, it's like
Yeah,
no,
especially
nobody.
when the whole
Go ahead.
crew has been so vocal about how, like, I mean, Tim's literally been like, I don't know when it's going to happen. It's probably no earlier than 2030, but I'm excited for this
Yeah.
opportunity. So it's like the
Right.
crew is obviously fine with this. So I did see, like, Eric Berger wrote an article about it, and something that he mentioned there was that apparently YM's like net worth has dropped in like half since he signed it in 2018. So it dropped from like 3 billion to $1.5 billion. And I
Right.
would imagine that Dear Moon would be a substantial part of that.
Yeah, there
Well,
were
that's
also
the- that's
some
the-
sketchy stuff very early on from Yusaku.
Yeah, there was weird stuff
Yeah,
that I don't think we should get
but-
into, but yeah.
But it's like he also went already to space, right? He went to the ISS for about 12 days back in 2021. He probably got already that scratch off, I guess, of, hey, I went to space. I've been a week and a half in the station, so whatever, right? Like, it just feels to me, someone was saying earlier today, something along the lines of, it just feels like, because there were people saying, "Oh, this is bad PR for SpaceX," and I'm like, it's actually bad PR probably for him, for Yusaku, because it's
Right.
showing off as someone that is very impatient, so to speak, right? That
Well,
he
they
doesn't
tried
really want to wait.
through this talk of delays. It's almost like they tried to shuffle off the the bad look
Yeah.
onto SpaceX. Like, look, SpaceX is taking way too long on this. And it's like, yeah, we all would love to have seen Starship be further along by this point. But when you compare it to literally any other rocket program ever, let alone the world's largest rocket by far,
Fully
and
reusable.
a completely novel, fully reusable system that's insane in a variety of ways using
Yeah.
an extremely complicated like they've moved at light speed compared to what we would see from any other company or any other industry. But I want to go back really quick to the net worth thing you were talking about, Trevor. Famously, uh, there was like milestone payments that Yusaku had been making as part of the support for the Starship program as part of the Dear Moon deal. And this goes all the way back to like Starhopper, where once they reach 20 meters, SpaceX would unlock a payment. Once they reach 150 meters, SpaceX would unlock a payment. That sort of thing. I wonder, how is the deal structured? Does SpaceX have to now give that money back, or does Yusaku just eat it? And B, how close were we to SpaceX achieving the next milestone payment, if there was another milestone payment to be achieved? And did that factor in to Yusaku's decision to terminate this because his net worth has fallen so much and he doesn't want to have to like suddenly owe $1 billion to SpaceX?
And I would imagine that a payment would be getting through reentry successfully, and checks calendar in top left in 111 hours or 112 hours. SpaceX will, I guess, 113 hours. SpaceX will hopefully have made it through reentry successfully. So
right,
that honestly could be part of it. But also, I really do wonder how much that contract was worth, because
same.
I mean, frankly, if you have a net worth of $3 billion, sure, that's a absolute ton of money, but it doesn't mean that you have that much to spare for this mission when, it's probably on the order of several hundred million to $1 billion would be my guess.
Right.
Yeah.
And of course, with any kind of extreme wealth like that, it's hardly ever like completely liquid cash that you can just turn around. Like most of the time, when you have that kind of wealth, you leverage your net worth to get loans from banks that you then pay off and then avoid tax. It's a whole thing.
Yeah.
So it's not like even if he was still worth $3 billion today, he would have $3 billion liquid dollars. It'd be like, no, the companies that he owns and started and etc. would be, granting him stock that was worth that amount, but he would never want to sell it. That's why you get the loan, and the stock keeps going up in price, and then you just pay off the loan with another loan, and capitalism's fun.
Yeah. One of the things that I also saw someone saying, the whole thing of, it being delayed doesn't really that doesn't really sound believable, just because, when you want to go to the moon, you wait if you have to, because
Right.
that's an opportunity, a once in a lifetime opportunity that may not be presented, at any point in the future. So like,
if you told
hopefully
me
it will in the in the long term, but the near future, it's quite complicated.
if you told me, Jack, you got a seat on the moon bus, you can ride the moon train, we're going, you can go, it's going to be 30 years. You just have to wait 30 years. I'd be like, okay. Like, sure.
You'll be a cranky old man, but sure,
I'm already a cranky old man. What's going to change?
It's also true.
This is going to turn more gray. That's about it. I'll make more sounds when I get up and sit down.
You're going to lose more hair. Oh, wait.
Trevor is like gaining friends here. Yeah.
Yeah, the whole thing just doesn't really pass the sniff test. Like, I don't know. It was weird. I honestly, I think part of it was probably that YM was just not the right person for the mission. He has no flight experience and on the other private missions, right? You have Jared Isaacman, who is the commander of the mission, and that dude is basically at the level of being a NASA astronaut. He knows how to handle these situations. He knows the vehicle in and out with all the training and missions that he's done with the team. And that's just not something I ever got from YM. Like, I honestly, I don't think I'd want him to be my mission commander. Jared is obviously like the gold star that you want to strive to be, but yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, there's a big contrast between Dear Moon and Inspiration / Polaris. A huge contrast, and I completely get what you're putting down, Trevor. That said, I would go to the moon under extraordinary circumstances. Let's put it that way, just to be able to go. But I understand taking a more conservative approach. So yeah, I think that's about it, right? Do we hit all the topics?
That's everything.
I think so.
Good deal. Well, thank you everyone for watching. That's the state of play. Starship currently net June 6th, pending regulatory approval, and per the Marine Safety Information Bulletin updates. So that is where we're at. Be sure to follow NSF on all the socials, and or next spaceflight. You can go to whenhop.com also. A great place for information about Starship and this next upcoming launch in particular. So yeah, whenhop.com, NASASpaceflight.com, you know the whole deal. Follow NSF on Twitter, follow NSF on Facebook, Instagram, wherever you get your news, we're there. Alex, thanks for being on. Countdown to launch.
It's been a pleasure. We're having a lot of live streams lately because we have tomorrow again, Starliner attempt number 3. Let's hope third time's the charm. We also have a lot of other things going on next week. More countdown to launch streams, and we have videos to produce and a live stream to produce as well. People going to Starbase, including you. So
I should be on my way there right now. I'm still mad about it.
Yeah, blame American Airlines.
Right.
Old man yells at airplane.
at plane. An airplane company. They're not even an airplane. The airline. They don't even.
Airline.
Anyway. Yeah. Anyways, Trevor. I guess thanks for being on. I don't know. Whatever.
I'm sorry for insulting your head, Jack.
How dare you? No, it's fine. All in good fun. I give you enough guff as it is. I deserve to take some of it as well. Cool. And who operated this one? Was it Jay operating this one? I think it was.
Jay.
Jay, thanks for operating. We also had Sean out in the field doing camera operation stuff as well, so thanks to Sean. Cool. Let's wrap it. When's the next countdown to launch? Is it tomorrow?
Monday, I think.
Monday.
Yep.
Monday,
3 p.m. Eastern.
Depending on what Starliner does,
Same time.
there may or may not be a shuttle tomorrow, a shuttle Sunday tomorrow. I can words. But we'll see what happens with Shuttle Sunday.
Starliner Sunday.
We'll see what happens with Starliner. And we'll see you on the next countdown to launch, anyways, come Monday. But until then, thank you all for watching. We'll see you on the next one.
And here we go.
We have liftoff. Propulsion continues to be nominal.
RCPA chamber pressure looks good.
Traveling up. Roger, Atlantic. Water towers, fly!
Tango down to nominal.
Fighting outside of speed off. Bring in SPD off. It's orange! Orange 25! Oh my god! Oh my god! Decollage! Look at that! Put that in the big bag, Eagle.
343 unfolds to go.
Indeed.
We rise together back to the moon and beyond.
If the methane would be igniting in the flare, correct?
Yikes. Keep red. Sure. We don't need any more of these.